police director is extremely professional and is seriously looking to improve the professional performance of our police department. And to that end, I have always, since I've been on the council, supported him and supported the fine work that he does in that area. Unfortunately, there is another area that I have a real concern about, and that is the response of the community to what you do. Tonight, we found half of that information. We got the information from the police, but we need to get the response from the citizens. And as we continue to strive to do more community policing, then I feel we will have arrived at the standard that we want, that the citizens want for their great city. It is unfortunate that our mayor has singled me out. I forgive him though. We always have a love kind of hate relationship oftentimes. But I forgive him because I've been in this community for over 50 years. And as many of you know, my husband was one of the first African-American mayors. And many of these fine officers, because of his work, they were hired. And during that season, and I see that we are going forward with progress. But I want you to remember that even though we may want to respond as a community to what you do, it never negates your fine work. Chief Santiago, my husband, I know, and he always talks about him because he was one of the fine leaders that he made sure came to our great city, and he pushed him forward. And so I do think that oftentimes as we look to build community, sometimes we get stuck, and some of us fight. But in the spirit of our community, the inquiry that we unanimously dealt with last week was in no way to take away from the fine work that you all do and put your life on the line to do it. So I want you to know seriously that that was not the motive behind the inquiry that we still feel we should do. And that inquiry really has to do with building community policing. Our city loves the fact that we have this protection and the bureaucracy and the fine professional people, but we need to have a response that says to the people, your perception, our perception of you goes the same way. And unfortunately, that is not always the case. And so I say to you, don't get upset at me or we represent the people. We are closest to the people. I have been a public servant for over 35 years. 16 was in the city of Plainfield. 35 years in public service with my husband Greg and all the fine people that live here. But guess what? There's more work to be done. We do have a fine director. You know, I wanted him to live in Plainfield, I'm gonna be honest. But that's okay, because I do believe he's doing a fine job. And I do hope that you take the spirit in which I was pushing and the council wanted to push. We must make community policing a major aspect to compare, to balance the fine professional work that you do. That's what it means to live in community. And I am not going to sit back and let political games be played and my name be pushed out there when I have a track record for over 50 years in this town. And I put that up against anyone who's talking about me, whether he be the mayor or whomever. However, at this stage in the game, we've got to move together. We really do. But the people's response to you is just as important as what you do. And that's all I'm talking about. I want the children, I want the young adults, I want the seniors to know that if they don't like something, they can come to you. And I'm not saying they do come to you. I know people that work in the police, not officers, who don't get paid to help the seniors and talk about it and help them see what's going on. And I know what you're doing. Look, this is not an us and them mentality. Please do not believe the rhetoric. I have no desire to be mayor, been the mayor already with Rick. I have no desire to be any of this but to be a good citizen. But while I'm on this council, I respond to the people first. And us professionals, we've got to tweak the bureaucracy and our professional standards to meet the needs of our people. Everybody doesn't understand all this. You know what I suggest, Director? This is a great thing. You need to take this on the road to churches, to community-based organizations. This is outstanding. Now you have to get the people's response. That's where I'm coming from. Don't get mad at me. I am not the leader. I'm just a person who's been here. I remember the riots. I remember what happened. God knows I don't want that to happen. It happened because of a culture of disconnect. Might have been professional, but to the people. That's why we killed Officer Gleason. Horrible. We did it. I didn't do it. Plainfield did it. And from that season on, we rebuilt this town and we built the relationships. I want to know, how many officers of color do we have, whether they be Latino or African American? How many? We have to increase the young men. There's only 5 of them who work with youth. What is the response of the capacity to families that you want to work with who don't know how to do what they need to do? We've got to partner with one another and a democratic process, not a top-down, I'm the boss mentality. It bothers me that the people who had this complaint about this, what was not happening with this officer, and I want my mayor to remember, they didn't come to the mayor's office. They came to the city council. That speaks volumes right there. In most other administrations, they came to the mayor because they knew the mayor was part of the people. So I say we have work to do, and I say we have work to do. But don't make me a us and them. I'm in this community for the long haul. And there are other people like me. We may not agree on every little thing, but let's build community together. Okay, God bless you.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to commend the police department. After seeing the film, I commend all of you for the great work that you do. We could be a great example, I think, to Washington, D.C., because they look like they're a little disarrayed. However, there has been community complaints from certain citizens. I was even told from some of the police. I am 100% behind Director Riley. I have observed him. I have watched him since he's been here. The good things that he has done, and I'm looking from the point, from the time he got here, from the previous things that was going on. The city has changed dramatically. But as a council person, I cannot ignore some of the cries from the citizens. And I don't blame the police department. We do have to work together. I was elected to work for the citizens of Plainfield, and I think I do my due diligence. If I have a problem, I can always go to Director Riley, and he has always come back to me and said, Councilwoman Tolliver, this is what we're going to do. I have my guys out doing this. I have my guys out doing that. That's a comfort to me. So I leave it open that if there is some disgruntled officers, that they will find it in their heart to go to Director Riley and vent their complaints. And as an upstanding citizen of Plainfield, I've been here all my life, and as a council person of the First Ward, I want to do my job. I don't hide behind anything. Anything need to be said, I say it with an open heart. Because I hear the cries of the public. And I wasn't comfortable because I did get complaints. But no one man can correct all the things that go on in our city by himself. It takes all of us. We're all responsible for self first and then community. I, as one, can say I am willing, have been willing, have worked with the police department, and will continue to work with them. And I think as a council person, we have a right for things that we see that are going wrong to report it so we can make it go right. They only can see so much. But we have eyes too. And not to discredit anyone, I can't do your job. And maybe you would say, you can't do my job. But together we all have a job, and we're all supposed to do our job together. So yes, I commend this. It's unfortunate that it had to come to a special meeting for such a great talent of information that it couldn't have been brought forward quicker than it did. Because there's a lot of information on there, a lot of things that the council has passed that we see now that is being brought forward. So I just ask the public to work with the council, to work with the police department, to work with Director Riley, and anybody that is disgruntled. Come up, let your voice be heard. Because you have a voice and you have a right. And as public officials, we are here to support you. You know, sometimes citizens think that we just sit here as council people and we don't hear them. I try to answer every call that comes my way. Anybody that stopped me and say they have a complaint about this and that, I truly try to get to the bottom of it without being biased to anyone. But I can say we do have a great police department. I've seen some of these officers come up the ranks, when some of them were just rookies. And I can say I'm proud of them tonight to see where they've come from. And now we can say we have a great director, not saying that some of the other directors wasn't great, but I can say he's on my watch now and I see what he does. And I think he really does care about the citizens of this town, and he cares about his fine policemen. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Councilwoman Rebecca Williams, and I serve as chair this year of the Public Safety Committee, and I delivered a report at our agenda fixing session on March 7th that actually did highlight a few of the things. I had a little bit of inside knowledge since I'd met with Sergeant Brown and with Director Riley, and I discussed some of the new community policing and some of the technology upgrades, etc. I also attended, it was nice to see the slideshows because I attended the police youth events that Detective Henderson and Michael Lucky and Burnell Harrison and some of the other cops were at, and had a great time. So I'm very much aware of all the work our division does. I just want to set a couple of things straight. I feel that no one speaks for me when they say that the council still feels that we should go through with an investigation or inquiry based on the foolish, ill-thought-out resolution that was passed very hastily with misinformation, etc. in it. I feel that it was unprofessional of us, and it was not a shining moment for the city council to pass a resolution that had no legislative weight or force behind it. That is not how we should do things. I offered my sincere apologies to the director last week at a meeting, and I offer my apologies to the rest of our police division who do a fine job. The numbers that we were given, the profile of our police division is that it is 55% Black, African American. That was put out there, and I know we have several other officers in training in the academy, some who are coming out. So I just want to say that I of course care for the community. I think that my record speaks for itself. I've always supported the police. I supported the police division when I was public safety chair in the previous administration and delivered detailed reports to the council on the workings of the police division. And I would say that moving forward, I'm pledging to you right now that I will never allow myself to fall victim to foolishness. Thank you.
Councilman, very good. First, let me say, first and foremost, thank you, Director Riley, for this outstanding presentation tonight. I'm just going to be right to the point. Thank you for what you do, and thank you, Plainfield Police Division, for being consistent in what you do. We appreciate you. From the bottom of my heart, I don't want your job. I wouldn't want it. You're doing a great job. And like I said, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
So at the last meeting, it was a unanimous vote to support an undefined investigation. And so I was one of the people who voted yes. Since that moment, more information has come to light. Some of it will be discussed in the next part of our meeting when we introduce a resolution that's on the agenda. Some of the information has come to light today. And I have to say that after hearing from not just Director Riley, but from his leadership team, and seeing the support that's out here tonight, I have confidence in the police division. So do we need an investigation? Are there other ways that we could improve the connection between the police and the community? Certainly we can do that through the accreditation process, and if we're not doing enough, the city council and the mayor can ask the police division to go further with community policing. We can do this without having to do an investigation, hiring an outside body. I feel confident that within the division, they can work with elected officials to meet those goals that some of my colleagues are expressing to get the police and the community more connected. I don't feel a need to spend more dollars on such an investigation because I have faith in the elected officials and the police division to address this concern. And if we feel that the accreditation process is not doing enough to make that, to strengthen community policing, that discussion will continue. And I'm sure my colleagues will make sure that it continues. So, we can disagree about whether we need to have an investigation. I don't think there's any disagreement about the need to strengthen community policing. Are there any other comments or from the police? I mean, from the city council? Okay, we are now up to public comment period. So this public comment period is exclusively to deal with the one resolution that's on the agenda. Does everybody have a copy of that resolution? Anybody if you need us to read it to you, raise your hand. Everybody has it. Okay, great. So, Madam Chair, I'm sorry. Please be advised that a total time of 30 minutes will be allotted to permit members of the public to comment on the resolution that's being considered this evening. Each speaker will be permitted a maximum time limit of 3 minutes to comment. The floor is now open. Microphone is at the front.
My name is Reverend W. Golden Carmen, and I'm the pastor of Mount Zion, an African Methodist Episcopal Church here in Plainfield, New Jersey, right down the street. And I would like to start by adding my voice to the chorus of witnesses that complimented our police department, first of all, for this excellent presentation and the work that they do in the community. I've served as pastor here in this community for 10 years now. And I want you to know that at Mount Zion and most of the churches I know in Plainfield, we pray every Sunday without fail for all of the police officers, the mayor, the city council, because what you do is hard. It's not easy what you do. And on occasion, it's really dangerous. So we believe that you need the covering of the churches in the community so that you can serve us with the excellent way you do it. Now, I think I heard the police director, Mr. Riley, mention that from the standpoint of this road to excellence that you're on, that's a wonderful idea. I spent 34 years in an IBM career, 20 years of that as an executive. The road to excellence is hard, but you have to take the steps that you're taking right now. The biggest challenges, one of the challenges that we learned when we embarked upon that journey, because we were not surviving as a company, was that you do have to make changes. And also that there is inertia within the organization because of the way you used to do things. And so sometimes it takes an external type of situation for individuals to come in and say to you, you're doing 90% correct, but here's 10% that you need to take a look at. And that's not a bad thing. That is a very, very good thing. And it does not diminish the fact that you're doing an excellent job. And so when I read about the information in the paper, it disturbed me because the discussion about Lieutenant Reed, that's not the person we know at Mount Zion. We did not understand what that was all about. And so I come to represent my congregation, but also to say that we're impassioned. And when one person doesn't receive justice, one of our officers doesn't receive justice, none of us receive justice. Right. But when all of us receive justice, one person, then all of us receive justice. And that's the lesson that Christ taught us this week. And so thank you all again for everything that you do, and there's nothing you can do to stop us from praying for you every Sunday. And you can count on Mount Zion to be your partners in this community.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, leadership of Plainfield Police Department. I'm Eric Phillips, pastor of the Mount Zion Union Church in the city of New Brunswick. I happen to be Kenny Reed's pastor. Let me say this. I'm not a citizen of Plainfield, but I do appreciate Plainfield Police Department. I appreciate the fact that when I do come through Plainfield, periodically to go to restaurants or take care of whatever business, usually it's going to a meeting at my colleague Reverend Carmen's church, I feel safe, and I appreciate that. We are not anti-police. I want you to know that. We appreciate what you do. As it's been said, every day you put your lives on the line. And so we are praying with you. I myself have prayed for police officers that have pulled me over. Not that they wouldn't give me a ticket, but I prayed for this. In earnest, I did. I have friends who are police officers. My uncle, my late uncle, was a police officer. I love police officers. I have members that are trying to get me to become a member of the Fraternal Order of Police. I'm just about to pay my dues. I support, we give to the State Troopers organization. We support policing. But that's not our issue, and that's not why we're here tonight. We're not here to degrade the police department. And I commend you on all of your efforts. The presentations were impeccable. I love what you're doing in Plainfield. But that's not why we're here. We're here because we believe that the proposed disciplinary action of one of your police officers is not just. How many of us, I asked the question last week and I'll ask it again. How many persons in this room could live off of half of their salary and no benefits. And on top of that, be demoted. And that's our understanding of what is being proposed for Lieutenant Reed. And we're saying we do not want that to happen. I listen. I'm not real smart, but I can comprehend. I listened to the definitions with respect to the procedure of internal affairs. You said that you gave us the categories of administrative, criminal, administrative, and performance. We understand that the proposed action that he committed was not criminal because the prosecutor sent it back. Okay? It couldn't have been administrative because internal affairs, and I've spoken with Lieutenant Reed, internal affairs did not interview him. And so you can't have an internal affairs investigation if you didn't interview him.
Please finish your
okay.
comment.
Okay, I'm okay.
Leave the argument
So
quickly.
again, thirdly, it must be performance. If it's performance, that means that the immediate supervisor determines the punishment. How in the name of God can one individual declare a punishment that removes 1/2 a year's salary for an individual, demote them, and take the benefits? We're saying, do what you can for justice for Lieutenant Reed. I'm done. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
All you don't know me, I think you all do, because I'm very focused. I'm not here to do nothing but sort of find some answers for the people who stop me in the street. I'm all over the place. They look at me as basically an advocate for the poor, if you will. So they've been asking me about this situation concerning Officer Reed, Lieutenant Reed. I don't know anything about it. I haven't spoken to him about it, but I want you all to know I respect this police department. I've seen Sergeant Brown stand up here and speak earlier about how he's been with the police department for 31 years. Before he worked for the police department, he worked for me and my family. You understand? And we did all we could to help all the citizens of Plainfield to better their lives and themselves. My only concern is with Lieutenant Reed. He is the fabric of this community. I've known him for 30 years. The guy is a decent human being. But what he has done within the department, I don't know. I'm not concerned with, but I'm just here to judge him as a citizen of this city who I think plays a significant part. And whatever has to happen to him, may God have mercy on his soul, because we need more guys like him in the community that connect with people. Do you understand? And as directed to you, Mr. Mayor, I know you're doing the best that you can. Director Rowley's a fine man. I've met with him several times. I think he's doing an outstanding job. But we need more thinking people who are going to feel and say what they feel, as opposed to not saying they feel because they might blow a deal. You got me? Yeah. Have a nice day.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Everybody already know can't read second. Half of everyone in here watched me grow up. But I'm here to speak on behalf of my father, Lieutenant Kenny Reed. 2 weeks ago, I said everything I had to say. But since then, there's no reason for, someone in the administration of the police department to contact my employment because I spoke on behalf of my father. Wow. That's totally unacceptable and unprofessional. Wow. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, all you officers in the department, mayor, who I've known, and the city council. I've got most of you guys, REVZECH, Jackson. I've got most of you guys on my video. Just to let you know that I will be turning those videos over to Washington to the museum that they're building down there. But from what I hear here today, he is concerning a great deal. I don't know Kenneth Reed personally, but he was an officer that you could come to. A lot of the inventions that you guys have talked about and you've displayed with the body cameras and all these things that's going to make a better police officer. He's only becoming better because of agitation. If we could take agitation from American culture, then what do we have? What do we have? So we were always agitated. You're going to have people that's not going to agree, not going to agree with you. We're not against the police. Well, who would I call? Ghost officers. If something happened to my car, who would I call? I'm programmed in America to believe in the police department. I'm programmed from a little kid. Mama said, it's the police. If you have a problem, call the police. If you're lost, go to the police. She don't say go to the detective. She don't say go to my great-grandfather who's a marshal. She don't say go to the marshal because you can't identify the marshal. But the police is very important. We're not against police at all. No, we are for police. But when you have a police officer that has extended himself, that kind of like a bridge, or like 2 years ago, I was welcomed in Central America, and I rode across that, that great canal that introduced me from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. I was talking about that canal that had to go all the way around. And that's what a police officer is to us. That's what Kenneth Reed has been that introduction where there has been agitation, there's been friction between the police officers and the community. Had it not been, then we wouldn't be up here just saying that. Nobody making up no things. We're intelligent people. So we are definitely not against the police officer. We honor the police officer because that's all we know. I don't know nobody else. Without you asking, well, who am I going to call? If I'm lost, I call the police. I've been programmed that way. I think most Americans, most people program. Once you program that way, call the police. There's a problem, call the police. And I understand, I commend the community police, the officers. When I was growing up, there was an officer Brown that he would discipline us in many ways and everything outside of what the police department give us a whooping if you caught us sneaking in the movie. And he was right to do that. He was right. You wouldn't do that today, but he was right in doing that. They kept us straight. So our agitation is not against the police department. Thank you.